tone. Here we have punched in a 1700 Hertz tone. That is how a 1700 Hertz tone sounds like. We punch in 1100. That is how an 1100 Hertz tone sounds like. Red box tones, as I just showed you, the quarter, nickel, and dime tones are composed of a 1700 and 1100 Hertz tone. If one were building a hardware red box, he could use this frequency generator to align the box and zero beat it by ear using these tones. Back to the main menu of the Phreaking program, we come to we won't show you all aspects of this program. We'll show you the war dialer. This program asks whether to dump the numbers to the disk or to the printer. If you choose printer, now you choose your exchange. Let's say we are in the 318 exchange, and you want to start at phone number 318-1234, 4 zeros, and end at 0100. This program would now dial all numbers between 318-0000 and 318-0100, and if it finds any computers at any of these telephone numbers, it will dump it to the printer. It says now that it's just dialed 318-000. There was not a carrier or modem carrier, and it proceeds to the next digit. Anytime you wish to stop the program, simply press F1. There are other aspects of this program which we will not touch on because they have nothing to do with phone phreaking, but are merely for accessing bulletin board system and are part of the terminal program itself. We will now show you another popular program that has circulated the underground phone phreak world for several years now, and that is Teleclone. This particular phone phreak program is also one of the most popular phone phreak programs there is. It is much better than Phone Man in that it offers more tools for the phone phreaker. It also features an automatic blue box as well as an automatic air and water box for the placing of free long-distance phone calls overseas. The program even lets the phone phreak decide whether he wishes to call overseas either by undersea cable or even satellite. A whole video cassette could be made on this one program alone. Time will not permit us to touch on all aspects of this fabulous program. The final version of the program was written in 1987 by a phone phreak named Sergeant Pepper. Sergeant Pepper virtually dropped out of sight after the release of this program and has become a virtual cult hero among the phone phreaks underground. His programs are still in use today throughout the United States. The C64, 128 Blue Box and Rainbow Box programs that Alternative Information sells are taken directly from Sergeant Pepper's works. Contact Alternative Information or the place where you bought this video cassette from for more information on these programs. We will now briefly run through this excellent phone phreaking tool. After loading the program, we go through some preliminary things such as choosing the type of modem which we're using. Please remember that you do not have to use a modem to phone phreak with. Looking at the main menu of Teleclone, you will see that choosing P puts us in the phone phreak in box mode. This is the only part of the program that we will be concerned with throughout this video cassette. As you can see from the phone phreak menu, this program contains many more boxes than does Phone Man. An automatic blue box, a rainbow box, air and water box, red box, black box, neon box, pearl box, joke box, breaker box, echo box, cracker box, mail box, docs box, and brass box. We cannot touch on all of these boxes, but however, we'll just run over the main ones. Blue box mode in auto mode is perhaps the best. This program asks you, do you need a 2600 Hertz tone? Choose yes at the prompt. You also have the option of choosing pink noise. No, we do not want pink noise. enter the phone number now that you wish to call. Here we would key in 505-555-1212 if we wish to phreak this number. This has a built-in 800 number. Press return at this prompt. Adjust the volume to the proper setting. Press return to enter blue box mode. With the volume turned up, the program would dial the 1-800 number. Press return when the 800 number is ringing. And as you can see, the automatic blue box tones are played into the phone. Going back to the phone phreak menu, we'll briefly show you the air and water box. Choosing S for a satellite connection, input the country code of the country we wish to call. Let's say the country code was 34. These are obtained from any telephone book or telephone operator. The city code in the country we wish to call, say it was 12. Input the overseas telephone number in the city we wish to call. Choose the overseas switching station. In our example, we will go through White Plains, New York, which is digit 1. International summary is then shown to us. Connection type is by satellite. We're calling country code 34, city code 12, and then the overseas number. Press any key to proceed. The 800 number is once again built into the system. We hold the phone up to the speaker of the monitor or the headphone up to the phone and press return. The 800 number is dialed with normal touch tones. We press return when it's ringing, answered, or is busy. Now we have just dialed the overseas sender in White Plains, New York. Press return when you hear a hum to begin overseas switching request. The call to the overseas number will now be placed free of charge. This is an amazing type program in that it has automatic air and water box mode. Choosing F5 from the Commodore 64 keyboard, we go back to phreak mode. We will not touch on all of these boxes. However, one we will show will be the joke box mode, which produces rings and busy signals for playing into the telephone to play jokes on the person you're talking to. This is a ring remote tone. This is a ring local tone. We also have a silver box, a blue box, manual blue box, red box, reorder tone. That's the tone you will get if you mess up on keying in blue box numbers and not key them in fast enough. Going back to the box menu, this is basically what the teleclone program is. We have now covered virtually all aspects of phone phreaking with a blue box in both hardware and software form. The blue box is an excellent tool for the phone phreak and is perhaps the most famous phone phreak box of them all. Although they are not in use as much as they were in the 1960s and 1970s, we all know they still have a very important place in a phone phreak's arsenal. If you have any questions or would like more information on blue boxes, either in PC form, building your own, please contact Alternative Information or the dealer where you purchased this video cassette from for more information. We will now move on to the second most famous phone phreak box of them all, and that is the red box. The red box is perhaps the most widely used box used in the United States today. As stated earlier, a red box produces the same tones as those produced when money is deposited into a pay telephone. The box in front of you at this moment produces the quarter, nickel, and dime tones. However, there are some red boxes that produce only quarter tones. We will first discuss what exactly is a red box. A red box, so named because it leaves a pay telephone in the red, is a device that simulates the tones caused by the dropping of coins into a pay telephone. A red box generates 3 different tones of 1700 and 2200 hertz tones. A quarter tone is 5 35 millisecond pulses separated by 60 milliseconds. A nickel is 1 60 millisecond pulse. A dime is 2 60 millisecond pulses separated by 60 milliseconds. Some older phone systems use only the 1700 hertz tone, but the dual tones of 1700 and 2200 hertz tones are fairly standard throughout the United States. This particular red box is unique in that it does produce all 3 coin tones. It does not just produce the quarter tones. The device is powered by a 9-volt battery, has a separate on-off switch to prevent battery drain when not in use, has a 3-position rotary switch for choosing quarter, dime, or nickel tones. The deposit button is pressed to produce the selected tone. The speaker emits the tones and is held up to the receiver of the pay telephone. Please keep in mind that a red box is useless on a home telephone line. They must be used on a pay telephone. Operation of a red box is simple. The phone phreak simply dials a long distance number and then waits for the AX computer to tell him exactly how much money needs to be deposited to place the call. In most areas of the United States, you must insert 1 real coin before beeping in red box tones. In our case, we would always use the smallest denomination of coin, or a nickel. This must be the first coin that is deposited after the computer tells you how much money to place into the telephone. After 1 real nickel is inserted, the phone phreak may then beep in the fake tones by use of the red box. The reason for depositing the real nickel is that there is a lever inside the pay telephone that is tripped, and the operator can tell if the lever has been tripped, so the actual coin falling into the slot must trip the lever. If you did not insert a real coin and you beeped in $2 worth of quarters, the operator could tell that there was actually no money inserted because of the light on her console was not tripped by the coin. One simply holds the red box up to the receiver of the telephone. With the red box held up to the receiver of the telephone, the box is turned on and the appropriate coin tone is selected with the selector switch. In our example, we will be using the quarter tone. Then the deposit key is pushed to produce the quarter tone. Moving the selector switch to the D for dime, still holding the receiver up to the red box, the deposit key is pushed once again to produce a dime tone. Moving the selector switch to the end position for nickels, holding the receiver to the red box, push the deposit key once again to produce a nickel tone. Once you have inserted the proper amount of money to place the telephone call, the call will go through because the red box has produced all the money necessary to place the call. The AX computer thinks that you have actually inserted the money when what you actually did was insert only 1 nickel into the pay telephone. Turn the box off to prevent drainage of the battery. The red box that you just saw demonstrated was built for a total cost of about $30 to $35 from a handful of parts readily available at Radio Shack. The printed circuit board you see in front of you is the printed circuit board for a red box. It measures roughly 1 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Alternative Information sells professionally etched and drilled glass PC boards for red boxes as well as blue boxes. Red box circuit kits come with a parts layout map, a parts list, as well as construction and tuning methods. And as always, these kits are sold for informational and educational purposes only. Alternative Information does not condone phone phreaking or toll fraud by selling these devices. We will now discuss the troubleshooting methods of using a red box, things that can and sometimes do go wrong with using a red box. The pay telephone you see before you is the standard old style 3-coin slot pay telephone. There are still a few of these across the United States today, and I do mean there are very few of them. We cannot legally show you the single coin slot pay telephone that you must red box from. However, a red box will not work on this type pay telephone. You must use the single coin slot pay telephone used throughout the United States today. Another thing to remember is that you do not red box from a privately owned pay telephone. You must use a genuine Bell-owned pay telephone. I repeat, a red box will not work on a privately owned pay telephone. There are several things that can go wrong while you are red boxing. The main thing is that you will not have the box properly adjusted as far as volume and tuning. If the volume is not right, the AX computer will keep demanding money while you are beeping in the quarter, nickel, or dime tones from the red box. After a few seconds of this, a human operator will come on the line. Do not panic. She will simply say the phone is not registering your money. I will return it to you and you may redeposit the coins. When she returns the money, you will actually get nothing back except for the original coin that you deposited. Now you must simply redeposit the nickel that was returned to you and then punch out the keys on the red box. She will thank you and then place the call. The operator will just think that the phone is malfunctioning, so do not panic. A red box is basically useless for local calls. However, in some areas of the United States, you can test your red box by dialing the dial access test line. One simply dials the number 0-959-1230 and follow the prompts of the computer by using the red box. The computer will correctly identify all coins that are dropped in and flag any bad ones. The red box is amazingly portable and safe. For those of you that may not be skilled in the art of building electronic projects, I will now show you a cheap method whereby one can make a simple red box using simply a small micro cassette or standard cassette recorder, such as the one shown here. You will need a small cassette recorder plus a suction cup microphone to make your cheap red box. First, pick up the receiver of your home telephone. Place the suction cup microphone near the earpiece of the telephone. Now, have a friend go to a local pay telephone in your area and patiently wait. Dial the pay telephone number from your home and have your friend answer the pay telephone. After he answers it, have him insert $2 to $3 worth of quarters into the pay telephone while you press play and record on the cassette button to record the tones. When you are at a pay telephone and placing a call, you cannot hear the money being inserted on your end of the phone. However, the person that you have called at home or wherever can hear the money being inserted into the pay telephone. Thus, you are recording the quarters being placed into the pay telephone at home. After you have about $2 to $3 worth of money recorded onto the cassette, hang up. Your friend will get his money back at the pay telephone if you call the pay telephone. If he calls your home, he will not get his money back, so keep that in mind. Now, you actually have a recording of actual money being placed into a pay telephone, approximately $2 to $3, recorded onto the cassette. This is known as a poor man's red box, and we will now explain the use of a micro cassette recorder being used as a red box. Wish to remember while recording quarter tones on a cassette recorder is to have your friend deposit the money into the pay telephone slowly. Don't deposit them too fast. Remember, you're trying to give the impression that you are actually inserting money into the pay telephone when you're playing the recording back into the phone. So have your friend actually fumble around and pause briefly between each coin insertion. This will add to the realism of the tape. Try to keep all background noise at a minimum while recording the quarter tones also. You should really have a good clean tape of nothing but quarter tones. We suggest not even fooling with nickel and dime tones when using the poor man's red box. Nothing is suspicious about a person only having quarters to place a telephone call with, so you should only record quarter tones onto your cassette recorder. We will now show you how to use the red box. Since we cannot legally show you the poor man's red box by using a single slot coin pay telephone, we will demonstrate the red box by using this 3-slot coin pay telephone. This particular model was purchased at a flea market and is used merely as a conversation piece. The first thing the phone freak does is picks up the receiver of the pay telephone and inserts a quarter to place the long distance phone call. He then punches in the long distance number of the place he wishes to call. The AX computer then comes on and tells him to insert the proper amount of money. Remember, we must insert one real coin. In this case, we will insert a nickel and then beep in the rest of the tones by using the cassette player. Holding the speaker of the cassette recorder up to the pay telephone receiver, we press play on the poor man's red box and play the quarter tones into the pay telephone. If the AX computer said insert $1.25, we would beep in 5 quarter tones on the cassette player, plus the original nickel that we put in. After the proper amount of money has been inserted into the pay telephone, the AX computer will say thank you and tell you how much overtime towards credit you have. The call will then be placed, and when actually all we really inserted was a nickel and beeped in the rest of the money using the red box. If you talk over the initial time period, the AX computer will interrupt your conversation and tell you how much more money you need to insert to continue the call. You should have rewound your red box tape by now, and then just simply hold the cassette player once again up to the speaker of the telephone, press play on it, and then beep in the tones. If you talk over the initial time period and hang up, the phone will do a ring back. The pay telephone will begin ringing after you hang up. Simply answer the pay telephone and the AX computer will tell you how much more money you need to insert. Simply beep in the money using your red box. Do not walk off and leave the AX computer ringing the telephone, or your friend may be charged for the call. If red boxing is done properly, you will never have to talk to a human operator. The only person, or actually you will only talk to the AX computer. Actually only one thing that can really go wrong with the poor man's red box, and that is the volume is not set properly. I will now show you how to adjust the volume properly on your cassette player. First, go to a pay telephone, insert the quarter, and dial a long distance telephone number. The AX computer will come on and tell you how much money to insert. If the AX computer says insert $1.25, insert one real quarter. Pause briefly, then the AX computer will tell you to insert $1. Now, beep in 1 quarter using your red box. If the volume is set right, the AX computer will come back on in a few seconds and tell you to insert 75 cents. since it did register the quarter that you beeped in. If it comes back on and tells you to insert the dollar, then you know that it did not register the quarter that you beeped in. If you wait too long, the human operator will come on. Simply hang up, redial the number, insert the real quarter once again, adjust your volume, and beep in a quarter and wait. If the quarter is being registered, the AX computer will tell you to insert 75 cents. If it's still a dollar, then you know your volume is off. Adjust your volume either up or down until you get it set properly. Make a note on your cassette recorder where the actual volume setting is. The volume setting will fluctuate from payphone to payphone since all payphones are different. However, it will be somewhere near the mark that you originally have it set on. So make a note of what volume setting your cassette recorder is on. Your cassette recorder will give you flawless recordings of the pay telephone of a red box, and is much cheaper and is actually easier to build. We will now discuss the third Phone Phreak box, and that is the green box. Paying the initial nickel in order to use a red box has left a bad impression on many phone phreaks. Thus the green box was invented. As stated earlier, a green box generates useful tones such as the coin return, the coin collect, and the ringback tones. These are the tones that the AX computer would send to the central office when needed on a pay telephone. Unfortunately, the green box cannot be used at a pay telephone. A green box must be used by the called party at home. Here are the famous green box tones. A coin collect tone is composed of a 700 Hz and an 1100 Hz tone and sounds like this. A coin return tone is composed of an 1100 Hz tone and a 1700 Hz tone. A ringback tone is composed of a 700 Hz tone and a 1700 Hz tone. A coin collect tone is sent down to the pay telephone by the AX computer shortly before the 3-minute initial time period is up. The coin collect tone causes all the coins that have been deposited into the pay telephone to fall into the coin box. Once the money has fallen into the coin box, it cannot be returned. In the case of a phone phreak using a red box, the only money that would actually fall into the coin box would be the first nickel that he deposited. If, however, a coin return tone is sent down the line, shortly before the initial 3-minute time period is up, the nickel that the phone phreak deposited at the pay telephone will be returned to him. As I stated before, however, the called party must produce the green box tones. The green box tones cannot be produced at the pay telephone. A ringback tone is sent down to the pay telephone by the AX computer whenever a person talks over the time period and still owes money for the phone call. When he hangs up and the phone begins to ring, this is what is known as ringback. The AX computer has sent a ringback tone down to the pay telephone to cause it to ring. When you answer a ringback call, the AX computer tells you how much more money you must insert into the pay telephone. Ringback is actually useless to a phone phreak. In fact, the only main key on a green box that is useful to a phone phreak is the coin return key. However, the phone phreak must call another phone phreak using a green box to get his money back. This particular green box is a simple green box and produces only the coin collect tone and the coin return tone. The green box is virtually useless to a phone phreak and does have limited uses. Green boxes are not as famous as blue and red boxes. In fact, many modern day phone phreaks have never heard of a green box, nor do they know the capabilities of such a device. Schematics for green boxes are extremely scarce and are hard to find. We will now move on to the silver box section of our phone phreaking video. A silver box is merely a normal touch-tone telephone that has been modified with the addition of 4 keys or tones that Mobile forgot to put on your telephone. On a touch-tone keypad, these 4 tones would be labeled A, B, C, and D. They are normally reserved for Autobahn or military use and are sometimes used by ham radio operators. Phone phreaks use these 4 extra tones to place free long-distance phone calls to one another. These 4 tones are as follows. The A tone is called the flash tone and sounds like this. The B tone is called the flash override priority. The C tone is called the priority communication. And the D tone is the priority override. Normal touch-tone dialing uses a signaling method of dual-tone multi-frequency tones. This is a method of representing digits by the playing of 2 tones together using different tones for different digits. For example, the touch-tone digit number 1 on your telephone is composed of a 697 Hz low tone and a 1209 Hz high tone. Silver boxes can easily be made by modifying existing touch-tone telephones. Also, the tones of a silver box can be produced by home computers as shown earlier on the Phone Man and Teleclone videos. Alternative Information sells plans for modifying existing home telephone touch-tone keypads to emit silver box tones. We will not go into the construction technique of modifying telephones, but we'll however show you how silver boxes can be used to seize long-distance directory assistance lines for the placement of free telephone calls. This particular touch-tone telephone has been modified to emit silver box tones. A switch in the back of the telephone switches the telephone into silver box mode. Then the far right keypad becomes silver box tones, A, B, C, and D respectively. When switched into silver box mode, these tones are emitted when pressing these keys. The only drawback to using a silver box is that both the caller and the call party must both have silver boxes, and they must call a directory assistance operator for a selected area code at about the same time. Not all area codes work with a silver box, but those in the Midwest are favored by most phone phreaks. After dialing a selected area code in directory assistance, 555-1212, the phone is then switched into silver box mode. When the directory assistance number begins to ring, the phone phreak will push the D key and hold it down. Actually, it will be the pound sign on the touch-tone telephone that has been modified to emit silver box tones. The phone phreak will hear a pulsing tone after holding down the pound sign for about 2 seconds. If the directory assistance operator answers, then you know that that area code will not work with a silver box, so try another one. After hearing the pulsing tone, the first caller presses the digit 6 on his phone and waits. The second phone phreak, calling the same directory assistance in the same area code at about the same time, following the same procedure that I just described, will press the digit 7 on his telephone. The 2 callers are instantly connected with an open voice channel and can talk even though one may be in Texas and the other person may be in California. Phone phreaks who experiment with silver boxes say that it doesn't matter which of the 2 phone phreaks uses the 6 or the 7, just so long as one of the callers uses the 6 and the other uses the 7. Due to the necessity of prearranging the timing of a long-distance silver box call, The actual method of placing free calls with a silver box hasn't caught on except as a novel experiment among highly advanced phone freaks. Please remember that the use of a silver box is illegal. If you would like plans on converting normal touch-tone telephones to silver box phones, please consult Alternative Information or the dealer where you purchased this video cassette from. We will now briefly touch on the last phone freak box, and that is known as the black box. Black boxes got their name from the color of the first one found or confiscated. A black box is also